want to greet our almost 500,000 followers on Facebook, almost 50,000 followers on Instagram, and almost 70,000 subscribers on our growing YouTube community. And also for fresh pageant updates, don't forget to go to our website, thecrown.com. And also don't forget to follow us on our Kumu account, The Crown PH. So, ano ba ba nangyayari ngayon sa local pageant scene? So, most recently, obviously, we just started our winners series here on the Crown Talks. That's why we're doing this interview as well, because we're doing quite a schedule when it comes to interview for our local pageant winners and also winners that we have internationally. So we started with the Binibini Pilipinas winners the other day. We did an interview with Binibini Pilipinas International, Grand International, Intercontinental, and Globe. We did a few contents with them, and also following that, we'll upload some contents as well for our Binibini Pilipinas winners. Quite a catch up with them as well. So let's introduce our guest for today. So she's the first international guest that we have here at the Crown Talk. So just give you a background. This guest that we have is the first Filipino American who won Miss Texas USA. So di ba international tayo mga crown ngayon, hindi lang mga local pageants. So she studied BFA in fashion designing with a minor in fibers from University of North Texas. She runs her own brand as well that goes by her name and practices sustainable design methods and uses repurposed and natural fabrics. So she's multi-hyphenated. She's not only a beauty queen, she's also a fashion designer, teacher, model, and entrepreneur. So without further ado, mga Crown, let's introduce today's guest, Miss Texas USA 2022, Arboni Gabriel.
Hello. Thank you so much for that introduction. That was amazing.
I told you I did quite a bit of research about you, Queen. So we're not gonna go into this interview without me knowing about you, aside you from being a Filipino American. So, Arboni, quite a unique name for a queen. So you will definitely stand out once you do nationals in Miss USA. So, here at the Crown Philippines, the Crown Talks, so we're very curious about how has it been since you won Miss Texas USA, because pageantry in the Philippines is very big. So we're not just into local pageantry. So when we see Filipino queens winning international pageants as well, we're very much into that and very supportive of your causes as well. So can you tell us more about how has it been since you won Miss Texas USA?
Wow. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you so much to all the support that I have been getting. I was so surprised and so overwhelmed with joy. It has been amazing. International support from the Philippines has been incredible. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. It has definitely brought so much joy to me when I'm feeling stressed. So I have been Miss Texas for about 6 weeks now, a month and a half, and time is flying because every day, as you know, being a title holder, you're so busy, whether you're doing appearances or training, or for me, I'm training for Miss USA. So I have a very short time period because I was one of the last states to get crowned. So I've had about 3 months to train for USA. So every day I wake up and I say, how am I going to train even harder for Miss USA so I can be the best I can possibly be on that stage?
Yeah, that's great. Actually, just to give you a brief background, mga ka-crown, Arboni is obviously she won her local pageant before she went into her state pageant. So that's how the Miss USA system works. So Arboni has been training. You've been training since your local pageant, right? And you were first runner up last year for Miss Texas, correct?
Yes, I competed in Miss Texas for the first time last year, and we have about 100 girls compete in Texas. It's extremely competitive. So I got first runner up, and I was disappointed, of course, and I kind of fell down, but you have to get yourself back up and ask yourself, do you really want to do this? And I said, I have to go for it one more time because I had one more year before I aged out. And if
Oh.
I didn't try, I would always go on in life thinking, what if I tried? So when I finally made that decision to train again, I had about 8 months and I just
Mhm.
put my blinders on and I focused and I trained every day to win Miss Texas USA this year.
So again, mga ka-crown, Arbani is nothing. It's no, again, it's not a new face in the pageant scene in the US. So, when it comes to training, let's touch a bit on that. Since you've been, since you joined last year, what type of what facet of your training are you most focused on right now? Since you mentioned that you only have 3 months right now before Miss USA. So, which facet of your training are you most focused on? Like your passerella, or is it your Q&A? Can you tell
I
us
would
more about that?
Yes, I would say Q&A. For me, that is so important because I believe the girl really wins in the interview. And if I cannot speak how I need to speak or clearly communicate what I'm thinking, then I feel like not as confident. So I'm always working on Q&A the most because it was my weakness at first and it's what needed the most work. And I feel like it's my strength now. I'm so happy to say that. And going into Miss USA, you have to protect your mindset, or really any pageant. You have to go in with the right mindset, the right confidence. So I'm always focused on Q&A. And as a fashion designer, I spend a lot of time making my wardrobe and designing my pieces for the pageant as well.
So you're gonna be wearing your own designs for your OOTDs in Miss USA?
Yes, I'm gonna be able to squeeze in a couple designs with the time frame. I'm working on one right now. I'm working on my interview outfit, and I've always made my interview outfit because it's so special to me to be able to speak about that in the interview room. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, especially the fact that you are a fashion designer. I think that's something that you want to highlight on your final interview for Miss USA, right?
Definitely, yes.
All right, perfect. All right, so again, we mentioned that you are the first Filipino American winner for Miss Texas, and again, Texas I think it's the most competitive state when it comes to pageantry in the U.S. Right? Texas, I think, is the Philippines of of the Miss USA pageant system. So, aside from the fact that you just won Miss Texas USA, is it extra pressure that you're feeling that you are representing the most competitive state in the Miss USA pageant system?
I would say it is pressure because Texas sets the bar high. We have had the most wins as Miss Texas for Miss USA in our
Yes.
country. So we definitely have a high standard, but I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good problem to have a lot of pressure, and diamonds are made under pressure. So it really just makes me work harder and it keeps me on my toes.
Yep, and I think your national director, Crystal Stewart, is from Texas, right?
Yes, she is actually from my
Mm.
hometown in Missouri City,
Oh,
Texas. So I feel some hometown love, and she's a huge inspiration for me.
that's right. I actually, Crystal Stewart is one of my favorite Miss USA's actually of all time. She's
Oh my god.
amazing. She's fierce. She's
Mhm.
fierce. And also, Armani, since we've already touched on how you're preparing right now and how has it been, since you won Miss Texas USA, let's go beyond your life outside pageantry because you are a multifaceted individual. You're not only a beauty queen, as mentioned, you are a fashion designer. You're also a teacher and all of that. I am, we only have 24 hours in a day. I don't think I have enough energy to do what you do. So how are you managing that? Being a title holder, how are you managing all of those other facets in your life?
Oh my gosh, I think I am just so excited about this opportunity to be Miss Texas. And I just keep telling myself I have one chance to be Miss USA. So I'm trying to do everything I can. But I will say, I always give myself one day of rest as much as possible. And that's time to just recharge where I don't leave my house unless I have to. And I'll stay at home and I'll sew in my studio and put YouTube on and listen to motivational speakers. And that to me is how I recharge every day. But my best friend always calls me an energizer bunny because I put a lot on my plate and I try to tackle everything, and it's kind of just who I am and it's in my nature and it's how I function, really.
And I think that's what's gonna help you be, the next Miss USA because being a multifaceted individual is gonna help you, be that person for everyone. You're not just a beauty queen, but also those other facets in your life. So that's amazing. So, Arboni, you again, since you are being supported by so many Filipinos, not only in the US but also here in the Philippines, we're very familiar with your journey. Not only the Crown Philippines has been posting about you, but all other pageant pages here as well. I hope that you are familiar, you're familiar with that. So let's talk about the Filipino side of your heritage. So can you tell us more about your family background and tell us more about that?
Yes, so my father is from Manila, Philippines, and he came to the USA on a college scholarship when he was 19. And he went to college in Washington, ended up getting his PhD studying in Washington and in California. And then he moved to Texas, and that's where he met my mom. She is born and raised in Texas. She's from a small country town. So I am a proud Filipina Texan. I love both sides of my culture. I love both sides of my family. My mom and my dad's side are so different, but I embrace both of them. And I hope to share with everybody that is biracial or coming from two different roots or two different cultures, three different cultures, however many, that you can embrace all of them proudly.
Have you been to the Philippines?
Yes, I've been so fortunate to go to the Philippines, I think maybe 5 times. My parents actually grew up taking my brother and I to the Philippines in the summer. We would spend a lot of time in Manila, and my parents actually got married in the Philippines as well. So they love going to the Philippines. My dad wants to move back to Manila. My mom is not really wanting to do that, but we are waiting to go back to the Philippines, because of COVID and everything. We haven't been able to go since 2018, but I am dying to visit again.
Yeah, just in Manila, you haven't been to the beaches, like, look, the beaches that we have here, because we have world famous beaches here in the Philippines too. You haven't been there? Just
I've
in
been to
Manila.
Cebu, Palawan, El Nido
Oh,
as well, but actually, it's so funny. I've spent most of my time in Manila with my family and friends. Yeah.
we recommend you to go to Boracay the next time that you go here. Palawan is a great starter for, in Cebu. Those are the
Mhm.
place, I think quite the most popular place that we have here, but you need to go to Boracay because that's the world-renowned beach that we have here with the white sands and everything. So I would recommend you to go there if you're gonna have, the permission to do so. Maybe when you travel after you win Miss
Fingers
USA, right?
crossed. Yes, that is high
um,
on my list. I don't know how I haven't been to Boracay, but I've been to Palawan and El Nido, but
yep.
I need to go, yes.
And actually, Palawan is further than Boracay. it's
I know.
it's
I
Boracay
know.
is easy. Boracay is actually easier to access than Palawan. It's great. So, when it comes to food, since you mentioned that obviously your dad is Filipino, did you grow up, eating Filipino food as well, or is that something off the menu?
Yes, definitely grew up eating Filipino food. We always had lechon at our barbecues or our family get-togethers. But actually, now I hate to admit, but hindi kumakain ng carne. So I only eat vegetables. So when I go to the family functions, it's a big deal because I can't eat most of the food. So I do love baked goods, ensaymada, bibingka, buko pandan.
Um,
I'm huge on sweets. So that's kind of a downfall right now as I'm training, but I love
no,
introducing foods to every Filipino foods to my friends too.
that's okay. You are training for Miss USA. Be off sweets. Be off meat for now. Maybe after you win, you can eat meat and sweets after that. But that's what I've actually been wondering. Can I talk to our Bonnie in Tagalog because you know how to speak Tagalog? So you can obviously, but a bit only. Did you grow up? Did your dad teach you how to speak Tagalog, or is that something that you learn on your own?
Unfortunately, he didn't teach me, so I try my best to learn on my own. I'm watching you, listening to YouTube videos when I can, and texting my cousins in Tagalog when I can. Gusto ko matuto, but I mean, I only know like a little bit, unfortunately.
Filipino fans are gonna be hysterical when they hear you speak in Tagalog. That's what we do. Because we're very proud of our heritage. Yeah, as you know, here in the Philippines, the three B's are our national sports:
Yes.
basketball, boxing, and beauty pageants. So trust
Hmm.
me, when you win Miss USA, you're
Yes.
gonna be a national hero as well. You're gonna be all over. newspapers here and also online. Trust me. So no pressure.
No pressure. It's all good.
So, Arboni, let's now go to the part, as mentioned earlier. We're gonna have a bit of an icebreaker because we don't want it just you. We want you to talk more about socially relevant issues later because
Yeah.
with the Miss USA system, that's very, very important now that it's under a new umbrella organization. But let's just do a bit of an icebreaker here at the Count Talks. It's what we call IG raid. So
Okay.
what we did is we went to your Instagram feed and we got three photos, random photos of you. So don't worry, it's gonna be gorgeous. Whatever you do is still gonna be gorgeous anyway. What you posted in Instagram, and you tell us, a bit about a background on what the picture is all about, what happened in that event, what emotions that you were feeling. Okay, so we're
Okay.
gonna have our director, Jonathan Santos, flash those photos for us. So, direct, are we ready for the first photo for Miss Arbani? Oh,
Oh.
tell us
Okay.
more about this photo because this is actually my favorite glam photo of you. It's my favorite.
Aw.
Yes.
Okay,
Tell us
well,
more.
thank you. Well, this photo is actually my official Miss Texas USA headshot. It was shot by Grant Photo. He's here in Houston. I have worked with him for about 10 years and he shoots a lot of pageant girls, but I was fortunate enough to work with him. And this was so special because at that shoot, I think we tried about 10 different looks. I mean, we went a little overboard and shot for like 6 or 7 hours just for a headshot, but I wanted to have a really strong one. So at the end of the day, I was very happy with all the different looks we did. And then I was reviewing the photos. I'm like, which one do I pick? Because your headshot is so important. It's like, what are people going to love? What's a good angle? How do my eyes look? What's my emotion? So I ended up picking this one. And, I actually wasn't too sure because it cuts off my forehead. I'm like, should I show my whole face or not? But I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I'm so excited that you actually pulled this up and you said it's your favorite. So thank you.
Yeah, because trust me, Arboni, you have a lot of amazing headshots. So it's
Yeah.
quite difficult for me, and I'm not just kidding you about that. I'm not just buttering you up. I think this is the one that I remember the most because I don't know if you're aware about this. Filipino fans are actually clamoring you to join Miss Universe Philippines after you were named as first runner-up last year for Miss Texas USA. So we were just wondering, is she going to be joining again Miss Texas, or will she have plans to join Miss Universe Philippines?
Yeah.
So when I saw this and you have officially declared yourself to be, joining Miss Texas again, so we were really, really happy because, oh my God, going to be another chance for Bonnie to win Miss Texas USA. So a lot of fans and people from Texas in the US are sending us photos of you, reels of you for us to repost
Oh
because it's something that to
wow.
put the word yes, to put the word out there about your candidacy. So this is the first photo that I saw of you. For sure, our Bonnie is going to be contender for Miss Texas USA. So I remember this the most. Is why I chose this for you.
Well,
Yep.
thank you.
All right. So, Direct, do we have the second photo for Miss Arbani for our IG rate?
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
this is a photo of me at Magpies and Peacocks. So that is the nonprofit design house that I work at. That's where I teach sewing classes. And we have a very special program here where I work with women from underserved communities in my hometown of Houston that are interested in sewing, but they don't have the tools or they don't have a sewing machine or they don't know where to begin. So here at the design house, we give them all the tools from day one. I teach them the very basics, and then they graduate from a 5-week program where they've learned to sew a few different projects. So actually, this piece right here is a custom piece for one of our clients, and the woman here is actually one of the graduates from the program, and she has absolutely excelled past the program and is making amazing pieces now. So to look at this, it just like it feels like I've come full circle because it's a woman that I'm constantly mentoring and I'm seeing her get better and better and really love sewing, and she's fulfilling her passion. She's building her brand. So I love this because I love sewing, so it's my passion here, but it's also giving back and helping somebody else too.
So it's like Project Runway. You're Tim Gunn, right?
I was, it is a little bit stressful, like Project Runway. We have deadlines like Project Runway, where it's like I have to stay a couple hours extra at work just to get something done before the client comes in. So the fashion world is very fast paced, just like Runway.
True. And not only you're a fashion model and a beauty queen, but also a fashion designer and instructor. That's a lot.
It
Being,
is,
part of
it's a lot.
being part of the and the reason why I chose this is because I wanted to highlight as well, this part of your life because I think it's a very important part of your life being
Hmm.
an instructor and being able to help a lot of young fashion designers out there and put that creative part of yourself. So that's why I chose this. So this is in
Love it.
Houston, right? Your hometown is Houston,
Yes.
correct? Fine,
Hmm.
perfect. All right. So direct, are we down in the last IG photo for Miss Arbani?
Oh my gosh, this brings a
Yeah,
smile to my face.
I'm
This
gonna
brings
choose
me
this
back
for
to that
you.
moment.
Can you tell us more about this?
Okay, so my brother took this photo. He was in the crowd. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Kuya. But that was when I found out I was Miss Texas. It was real. It wasn't just a dream anymore. So I was trying to act very proper and compose myself still, but I was so excited. I was like jumping for joy in my head. I mean, that was me walking down the runway. In Texas, we get yellow roses when we win Miss Texas because
Oh,
that is a signature flower of our home state. So I have yellow roses there. And yeah, actually, the dress I'm wearing is a Filipino desire, Rian Fernandez. So this is just such a special moment.
shout out to Sir Rian Fernandez. Actually, I wasn't aware that it was Sir Rian Fernandez who that you're wearing Rian Fernandez. Actually,
Yes, shout out to him.
shout out, sir, if you're watching. But he's quite famous right now, dressing international pageant queens. So most recently, I think he was able to dress up Miss Universe Thailand contestant. So
I
that's why
saw
this
that.
yeah. Are you planning to? I don't know if you're allowed to say who you're going to be wearing this national pageant, but are you going to be wearing Rian Fernandez again?
I am unfortunately not allowed to say right now, or I would tell you. No, it will be fabulous.
Okay. All right. So, again, the reason why I chose this photo of you because we've seen a lot of your, glam photos for when you were crowned Miss Texas USA, but I think this is the most candid one that I can find because you
Hmm.
were brimming with pride and happiness with this, and it's a great thing to know that it was your brother who shot this. So I think I think that's what it make extra special, right? That it was
Hmm.
your brother. So it was your older brother. You have an older brother.
Yes, I have three older brothers. This was one of my older brothers that's 2 years older than me. But yeah, all my brothers were there, thankfully.
Oh, so you're the youngest. In
Yes.
Brood of Four. Ah, okay. So
Mhm.
how is your relationship with your brother? We've been very supportive with you since you started joining pageants.
Yes, they've been very supportive. I grew up on tough love, being the only girl, and I kind of grew up being a tomboy. So I'd always play with my brothers, like play BB guns or ride on a skateboard with them. So when I entered a beauty pageant, they were a bit surprised but very supportive. And now that I am Miss Texas USA, they are extremely supportive.
So shout out to the Kuyas
Yeah,
of
shout out
Arbonne if
to
you're
you.
gonna be watching. So they live in Texas as well.
Two are in Texas and one is in San Francisco, California.
Ah, okay.
Hmm.
Shout out mga Kuyas. All right, so now we're done with the IGA. Thank you so much for that, Arbani. So we're now gonna go to the serious part. No, all right. I think this is something that you're gonna excel at. So we're gonna ask you three socially relevant questions that I think it's important for us to have a dialogue right now. So there's three questions. We're gonna flash it here, and we're gonna give you time to answer. Just give us some thoughts about the issue, and then we'll go to the last part of the interview. Okay, so direct, are you ready for the first serious question? Joke.
Okay.
All right, so this is what we call the crown views, by the way. All right, so the
Okay.
first question is: should your insurance policy cover cosmetic procedures? What do you think about that?
Ooh, okay. Hmm. I honestly have never thought about that, but now that you're asking me that, my first initial reaction is yes, because cosmetic procedures are so serious. They're a big part of your journey. If you undergo a cosmetic procedure, it's not something that you take lightly. It's something that you think about and give a lot of thought. Just like any procedure or even a surgery for any reason. So, I would say yes, you should have your yes, your insurance policy should cover it because you never know what could happen. And I think it's just better to be safe than sorry.
I think that's a great answer to that question because not a lot of people think that it's only for aesthetic, right? And
Mm-hmm.
insurance is not, when you undergo cosmetic procedures, it's not just for you to look beautiful. I mean, that's a great thing. If you want to look
Yeah.
great, right? You want to feel
Yeah.
better about yourself. But what if you went to an accident and then you have to have something reconstructive surgery to your face? It's not covered by insurance. So I think that's a great thing to touch on because it's not only about aesthetic,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, there's surgeries for so many things, like aesthetic or non-aesthetic. They're not all cosmetic. So I think that's very important, and I've never thought about that actually. So thank you for asking me that.
You're welcome. All right. So that's our first question. So direct. Are you ready for our second question? As a beauty queen, how can you use your platform in fighting for the rights of the LGBTQIA plus community?
Ooh, well, as a beauty queen, I feel like my platform is so important to show that I am accepting of everybody. I think just in life, if you are LGBTQIA or not, you should still treat somebody the same way as everybody else. So I have a lot of friends, and also in the beauty industry, in the pageant industry, it is very LGBTQIA friendly, or there's so many people that I work with in the industry that do my hair or my makeup. So I think it's all about celebrating that and just showcasing for me through social media or when we do interviews or how I interact with people that not only am I accepting of everybody, but you should always treat anybody the same way, no matter what background they are, what views they have. And also, I think it's important to share with the youth that as well.
Yep. I think it's very important that you touch on that being in a beauty pageant industry, you're surrounded by gay men.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's something that you want to champion. And I think that this here in the Philippines, although beauty pageants very popular and there's a lot of, LGBTQIA plus people in the industry, it's still partly just tolerated because as you know, here in the Philippines, we're predominantly Catholic, so
Hmm.
sometimes it just feels like it's tolerated and mostly accepted. So I think it's very important that someone as powerful as you are, having a very important platform that you champion that, especially for us because I'm a gay man. I'm a
Hmm.
gay man in a relationship with a gay man as well. So it's just very important that it's something that you champion that cause for us. So thank you.
Yeah, I think it's important. There is a big difference from tolerating and accepting. So accepting is welcoming somebody with open arms no matter what. Tolerating is just maybe sitting in the same room and keeping your mouth shut, but still having those feelings inside that you don't accept somebody. So I'm so glad you bring that up because accepting somebody, you can't judge somebody because they're different from you no matter what it is.
Oh, mga crown, our bunny is very pro us. So it's just something that touches us. I know it's something that should be the norm right now, but it's just heartwarming that it's something that you feel and that you champion. So thank you, our bunny, for that on behalf of the LGBTQIA plus community here in the Philippines. So lastly, on our crown views segment, our last question: how can we combat sexism and misogyny of women, which have become rampant?
Well, I would say personally for me and what's happening in my life right now as Miss Texas USA, I have broken down the barriers for a lot of my friends' stereotypes of pageants being so focused on sexism and misogyny of women because a lot of people that are not familiar with what I do think I just go on stage and work out all the time and I wear makeup all the time and that's it. I just want to look physically beautiful and I think a lot of my friends that were unfamiliar with pageants, they were not interested in the pageants because there was no meaning behind it, they thought. So for me, how can we combat this issue is that we show how we work hard as women. And I love to work hard with no makeup in my sweatpants in my studio at home. And I love to make videos of that to show people that women are dynamic. So we can look good in so many ways. It's not just physical. So that for me is one way to show that to the world that there's so much that women have to offer and we need to stop focusing on just the physical beauty.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being beautiful, right?
There's
It's
nothing wrong with
something.
it. I think we should focus on it all is what I'm
I
saying.
it makes the whole world, you know. But that's the thing. A lot of people, I think, especially those who are not, fans of pageantry in general, or just not familiar with it, because it's such an alien idea to me that there are people who are not familiar with Miss USA, Miss Universe. But for us, obviously, we're fans of pageants, so we're very familiar
Yeah,
with
it's
it.
our world.
It's our, I know. It's just, second nature to us that, we watch pageant, or we watch out for pageant queens or upcoming pageant queens. So, but I think for you, not only being a beauty queen, but, starting as a fashion designer, being able to put that out there, and not just being that beautiful person outside, being able to project that, and through your causes, and through your, through the fields that you thrive in. I think right now, with what happened last year with Miss USA 2021, I think you have a segment that, I think the segment wherein you talk amongst each other, the top 10. I think that's a top 10 segment, right?
Yeah, that was a
When
new
people,
thing. Yes.
yeah, that's a new thing when you talk about, social issues amongst each other. It's just not a Q&A. So I think that's something that very new right now in the Miss USA system, and I
Hmm.
think you're going to be able to highlight that part of yourself as well with that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're down on the last part, Ms. Arbani. Yes, of the interview. But before that, obviously, we want you to um, give us a background as well about the other fields that you were in aside from being a fashion designer, an instructor, and a beauty queen. Are there other things that you're interested right now? I mean, what shows do you watch? What hobbies are you into? So that our crown, or your Filipino fans will be familiar as well about other things that you're interested in.
Okay, well, yes, y'all know I'm a fashion designer. I've been doing that for 15 years and it takes up a lot of or most of my time. But when I'm not doing that, I love to hula hoop actually. Like I love to do different tricks on the hula hoop. It's just a fun way I stay active. I also do fire dancing. I do fire poi. So that's the two
Mhm.
balls on the string. That's something I do for fun. If I can go to the beach and do it, that's a perfect day for me. I love
Mhm.
reading books, especially now that I'm training for Miss USA. I am trying to constantly read books. So right now I am reading Relentless. It is by Tim Grover, and he trained Michael Jordan. So he trained
Oh,
a very successful person, and he has a very strong, relentless mentality going into training that I'm absorbing right now. And I also love watching YouTube interviews and documentaries on people that I aspire to be like. And lately, it's been Oprah, Kobe Bryant, and my favorite motivational speaker, Les Brown. They just get me fired up. So that's mostly, and I would say I love to backpack. So before I started training for pageants, I did a couple solo backpacking trips in Southeast Asia, where I went to
oh,
Thailand, Indonesia, the Philippines. I was with my parents on that leg of the trip, but when I have free time, I love to travel.
yep. And for now, obviously, you're gonna be busy for Miss USA, but you're gonna go back to that after you win.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So actually, our director just said that he loves Fireboy. our director Jonathan loves PowerPoint, but I'm the most uncoordinated person there, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go into that. I'm just gonna have an accident. So we're gonna wrap this up, Arvani. But before that, obviously, we want to ask you the most important question, and I think you're gonna be asked this so many times by people who are gonna interview you. Okay, so direct. Let's flash the final question for Miss Arvani. So why should you be the next Miss USA?
I want to use my unique story to inspire the world. So, I am a fashion designer and I'm very passionate about that. And I want to show people that you should use your passion for the greater good. So, I teach sewing classes at a nonprofit in Houston that works with underserved communities. I also teach sewing workshops in Texas to the youth to plant seeds in their mind that they can have opportunities to think creatively, to find their passion. So, as Miss USA, I want to continue to show people that we all have a certain gift. I've found mine, which is being a fashion designer, and we all need to find our special gift because that is what's going to fuel us through life, and we all deserve that.
And that wraps up our today's Crown Talks, mga ka-crown. So I'm just gonna give back the ball to you, Arbani. Just promote your social media platforms to and give your message to your fans and followers as well, and about what's next for you leading up to the Miss USA pageant.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. I am Arbany Gabriel, Miss Texas USA 2022. I am working hard. I am reading y'all's messages. Thank you so much for the support. It is carrying me through the hard days. I have 7 weeks until Miss USA, and I'm working hard to make you proud. I'm working hard to make the Filipinos proud. And I just am extremely thankful for all the support, and I thank y'all so much for tuning in and follow me on my journey. I've got designs that I'm working on for Miss USA that I will be releasing. So if you're not following me on social media, please check me out at Arbany Nola and the Miss Texas USA page as well. I'm active on there and I'm just trying to share every part of my journey as I can. So thank you so much.
And that wraps up our Crown Talks, mga crown. And by the way, Arbani, we always follow you on. We've been following you on Instagram, and again, a lot of your followers and fans have been sending us news about you. So we're gonna watch out for you. And Miss USA is when?
Miss USA is October 3rd in Reno, Nevada.
Reno, Nevada. Okay,
Yes.
so mga crown, on behalf, again, we just want to say hi and thank you to our almost 500,000 followers on Facebook, almost 50,000 followers on Instagram, and almost 70,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. And again, don't forget to follow us on our Kumu account, Crown PH, and for fresh pageant updates, don't forget to go to our website, thecrown.com. So, on behalf of our very special, beautiful guest, Miss Texas USA 2022, Arbani Gabriel, myself, Donnie, your social media manager, our director, Jonathan Santos, and my partner who's currently driving right now to Laguna, Christian Baking. Again, thank you for watching, and let's support Miss Arbani Gabriel on her quest to be the next Miss USA. So thank you, Arbani, and
Thank
you have a great
you.
night there in USA. And yeah, thank you so much. Bye, mga
Okay.
ka-crown.
Bye.